Hello guys, welcome back. Now today, we're going to be reviewing the last 10 years of Dallas Stars draft classes. Now some of these are definitely hit and miss. I'm looking at U 2008, but some of these are really good, and some of them are producing pretty damn good players right now. Now we'll start at 2007, but just to give some honorable mention to 2006, we drafted Matt Niskanen and James Neal, both in the same draft. I'd say that's pretty successful, even though they both didn't have very great careers in Dallas. We still drafted some pretty good players there. Now, as we look into 2007, I'll go by overall, the round, and then their games played. And of course, if they have a game played in the NHL, I'll look at their current team that they're on right now, whether it be in the NHL, AHL, wherever it is. But in 2007, drafted 50th overall, second round. He has 0 games played. Nico Sakechi. I don't know how. Again, excuse me for the pronunciations. It's Sacchettii. It's a weird name. Just forgive me for the pronunciations. But 64th overall, third round, 0 games played. Sergei Korstin. He didn't play anything. I think he was close to getting games played, but he just didn't get there. But the next pick, Colton Sevier, 112th overall, 4th round. He is on the Florida Panthers. He has 294 games played, so almost up to that 300 mark. That's a pretty damn good draft pick right there. Then you got Austin Smith, 128th overall, 5th round pick, 0 games played. And guess what? The next pick, right after that, 129th overall, 5th round, 639 games played for the Dallas Stars. Jamie Benn, 1 pick after Austin Smith. They draft the best player on their team currently right now. And of course, I don't need to go into detail about Jamie Benn and his play, but a 5th round pick, 129th overall. That's a damn steal right there. Next, you got Andre Roman, 0 games played, 136 overall, 5th round pick. And Michael Neal, 149th overall, 5th round pick, 0 games played. And then Luke Gazdic. He was 172nd overall, 6th round pick. He had 147 games played. I think it was with the Oilers, a few with the Devils. He's on the Stockton Heat right now. He's not playing too well, but that's the 07 draft round for you. That total games played of 1,080 games played out of the total draft year. I think that's pretty successful. It's basically boosted by Jamie Benn, but we'll forgive that for now. And with 1,080 games played in the 07 draft, in the 08 draft, it's way below. There's 4 players on here with no games played, only 1 player on here that has any games played. They've drafted 5 players. We'll start with Tyler. Okay, so this is a tongue twister. Tyler Beskorwany. That's a stupid name. I'm not kind of glad I didn't make the NHL just because of that name. I'm sorry, but it's just a mouthful, man. Had 0 games played, 59th overall, 2nd round. Scott Winkler, 89th overall, 3rd round, 0 games played. And here it goes, Philip Larson, 149th overall, 5th round pick, had 151 games played. He's currently in the UFA Salavat Yalavir. KHL, he's playing decent. He was on the Canucks for a few years in the AHL and back, and he was playing pretty decent for them. They got Matt Tassani, 176 overall, 6th round pick, 0 games played. Mike Bergen, 209th overall, 7th round pick, and 0 games played. So the total games played for the 2008 draft was 151, which is just abysmal. Now on to the 09 draft, which was so much better than the 08 draft. This draft, it had, I think it was 5 players in this draft. It's the only draft in these last 10 years that has had every single player on this list play at least 1 games played in the NHL. So we'll start with Scott Glennie, basically the worst bust in Dallas Stars, not history, but in these last 10 years, he's played 1 game. He was 8th overall, 1st round pick. Ugh, that's gotta hurt. He's retired from hockey. He hasn't played a single game this season, so either he's just like a free agent somewhere, he's just not playing any hockey, he hasn't gotten any offers there, or he's just retired, which I think was the case there. You got Alex Chason, 38th overall, 2nd round pick. He has 367 games played, which is very good. He's on the Capitals right now, and he's playing pretty decent for them. Then we go on to Riley Smith, 69th overall, 3rd round pick, 417 games played, playing strong for the Golden Knights, and he's playing very well there. And then you got Tomas Vincula, 29th overall, 5th round pick, 95 games played. I think he's on the Bruno Kamado Czech League. I still don't know how to pronounce it. It's weird. It's very weird. And then Curtis McKenzie, who's still in the Dallas Stars system in the AHL. He's more than a point per game there. 159th overall, 6th round pick, 96 games played. I think he'll take that from a 6th round pick. He's in the Texas Stars organization. That's a pretty good pick there. And of course, the total games played equals to 976 games played. It definitely will go past 1,000 games with Riley Smith and Alex Jason probably getting more games, but it's still a very good draft class that the Stars did right there. Of course, nobody didn't play any AHL games, so everybody has some NHL experience. That's a pretty damn good draft. Now on to the 2010 draft, where the Stars drafted Jack Campbell, 11th overall, first-round pick. He has 2 games played. He's been playing very well for the Ontario Reign, where he currently sits in. He's part of the Kingston organization. He's playing very well there. They tend to develop goalies very well, unlike the Dallas Stars. So, of course, he's going to play better there, but he's basically a bust at this point. He's not going to be a good goaltender for anybody in the NHL. He's going to be a backup, and that's probably what he's going to be. Then you have Patrick Nemeth, a 41st overall, second-round pick. 145 games played. He's playing for the Avalanche right now. He's playing actually pretty decently for them, of course, being carried by Nathan McKinnon. That, of course, you're going to play well. But he's actually playing pretty decent for them, and good for him. He didn't play that great last year. Felt like he really needed to have a change of scenery. Of course, he is playing on the Avalanche better. So, next you have Alex Guptill, 77th overall, third-round pick. He's played 0 games. Next is Alex Therian, 109th overall, fourth-round pick, 0 games as well. Then you go to 131st overall, 5th-round pick for the Dallas Stars, John Klingberg. Yeah, 5th-round pick. The Stars, he's played 275 games played. Of course, that's going to be going up way too much because he's young and he's going to be playing a lot of games after this. And of course, John Klingberg at the 5th round is basically an amazing pick. He should have been a first-rounder, looking back on it, but he just developed well, and he really put the work ethic into becoming a great player. And of course, coming up to the NHL, getting us opportunity and playing fantastic. I definitely feels great for him, and it definitely feels great for Stars fans getting just a steal from the 5th round. Looking back on it, fantastic pick there. And that draft class has played 422 total games, just so you know. Now on the 2011 draft, where the Stars drafted Jamie Alexiak, 14th overall. First round, 159 games played. He's playing good for the Penguins. He isn't a bust per se, but I want to say that he's worth 14th overall. He doesn't have the skill to be drafted 14th overall. He doesn't really have the defense. He doesn't really have really anything to be drafted 4th overall to be worthy of that position. Maybe like a 2nd or 3rd round pick. I'd understand that, but to be drafted 14th overall, I'm still pretty mad at it. Then you got Brett Ritchie, who is 44th overall, 2nd round pick. 162 games for the Stars. He's going to play more. He's going to be a good player in the future. Of course, he is still developing. He's not too old, but he's definitely been playing well for the Stars. He is a good grinder player. He's a good physical player, and defensively, he's not too bad either. We got Emil Bolin, 105th overall, 4th round pick, 0 games played. Troy Vance, 135th overall, 5th round pick, 0 games played. Matai Stransky, 165th overall, in the 6th round, 0 games played. Then Jyrki Jokipaka, 195th overall, 7th round pick, who's played 150 games for the Stars and the Flames. A good career there for a 7th round pick. Really, that's pretty accomplished right there. He's in the Sochi Hockey Club in the KHL. The total games played for everybody wrapped up in this draft is 471. Of course, Jamie Alexiak is going to get more games played, and Brett Ritchie is most likely going to get more games played. So it's a pretty decent draft, and it could be a lot worse. Now to the 2012 draft, where the Stars drafted Radek Fax at 13th overall, 1st round pick, 178 games played for the Stars, and get this, the Sabres drafted Zemgus Girgensons 12th overall, right before Radek Fax, and the Buffalo Sabres could have had Radek Fax, and the Stars could have had Zemgus Girgensons. That's a scary, scary thought. But the fact that is an amazing player, amazing defensive player. He has really improved this season as well. He's played fantastic, and of course he is going to keep getting better, and of course he is going to get more games played. Then you got Ludwig Bystrom, 43rd overall, 2nd round pick, and just to be fair, some of these players who have 0 overall or 0 games played are still might be likely to get games played. They still are likely to develop. They're not too young. These guys are like 22, 23. So past these, it's really not too bad if they have 0 games played. You got Mike Winther, 54th overall, 2nd round pick. I haven't even heard of him, so I don't even know what's going on there. And then you got Devin Shore, 61st overall, 2nd round pick. 139 games played for the Stars. Pretty good draft pick right there. Devin Shore is a good player there. And then Esa Lindell, 75th overall, 3rd round pick. 131st overall. A great pick right there for the Stars. Getting him in the 3rd round. He's a great solid defenseman. A pretty decent top 4 guy. And of course, he is going to be a good guy in the future as he's still growing, of course. Then you got Jamel Smith, 104th overall, the ace in the hole, 4th round pick. He has 48 games played so far in his NHL career, which is pretty successful, especially for a 4th round pick. You'd take that any day of the week. Then you got Brandon Schrock. I think he's in the Flames organization. organization, something like that. 134th overall, 5th round pick, 0 games played. Henry Cavajo, 144th overall, 5th round pick, 0 games played. I think Dmitry Senyensin, 183rd overall, 7th round pick, 0 games played. But the total games played for the draft is 496. Of course, Faxa and Lindell will get at least a couple hundred more games to both together combined, and they'll do well in the future, and they're still young, so they'll get a lot more games played. This draft could go well over 1,000 games, at least I believe that. Now we'll go to the 2013 draft, and I'm only going to talk about the players that have played at least a game played in the NHL, so we are kind of going to wrap this up a little bit. The 2013 draft, Valery Nichushkin, 10th overall, first round pick, 166 overall. He decided to go to the KHL for a couple of years, hoping that he comes back next year, and we're all hoping that because he's a great player, a decent top 9 guy. He really has the upside for him. He's still young, of course, and he can still develop. Jason Dickinson, 29th overall, first round pick, 23 games played. He's going to play more games in the NHL. Of course, he needs to get that development going, but he's still a great player, especially in the AHL. He's playing very well there. Remy Ellie, 40th overall, second round pick. He's played pretty decent for the Stars. He's a fast player. He's able to create a lot of chances, and I do like him at the 4th line role. 64 games played. He's on the Stars right now. Nick Paul, 101st overall. 4th round pick, 36 games played. I think he played with the Senators, and now he's on the Belleville Senators, doing pretty good in the AHL there. And then in 2014, you have Julius Honka, 14th overall, 1st round pick, with 44 games played. He's played fantastic. When he's played great, especially this year. Then you got Denis Gurianov, 12th overall, 1st round pick. He's played 1 game in the AHL. Right now, he's doing pretty good in the Texas League or in the Texas Stars in the AHL. Now there are also still some good prospects that have drafted in the last 3 years that haven't played any NHL games, but they probably will play NHL games, like Rube Hines, Riley Tuff, DJ Gottinger, and of course Miro Heiskanen, who probably will play next year. So these 3 or 4 prospects are going to come up and play well, and they're going to get some NHL games. Of course, it's going to grow exponentially. But for right now, the last 4 years, of course, there are a lot of guys that are still developing in the minors. Of course, have still yet to come up. So of course, we can tell what are busts and what are not in the 2010, like the 20 or the 09 drafts. But for right now, in the last 3 drafts, we can't really tell yet. But Miro Heiskanen is, of course, looking fantastic. Dick Ottinger is looking decent. He played okay in the World Juniors. Riley Tufte is looking decent as well. He might be a good solid top 9 guy for us. And Rube Hines is looking like a pretty solid, like 4th line center, maybe even 3rd line center that will replace. Maybe it goes like Sagan, Faxa, Rube Hines. Maybe you have Devin Shore on the 4th line center role. That could be very, very filthy, and that could be all your 4 centers for a long, long time there. Stars history in the last 10 years, a grading out of 10, 1 to 10. And the Stars official, the Dallas Stars official rating, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. There has been some draft busts, notionally Scott Glennie, Jack Campbell, but there is a lot of guys that are looking pretty decent that have been drafted in the last few years. Of course, they have some steals in the 5th round, like Jimmy Benton and John Klingberg, but they missed out a lot of stuff there as well. And of course, the guys that they have drafted in the last 10 years, in the 1st and 2nd rounds, a lot of them haven't come up and really done all well to get good players in the 2nd round. The 2nd round, especially, is pretty sneaky. You can get a lot of good players in there, and the Stars really haven't. So it's really keen to get good players in the 2nd round, especially in the 09, 08. 07 draft, where those were pretty good for the 2nd round, is pretty disappointing. They could have gotten a lot more from the earlier rounds, but in the depth rounds, they did pretty well. But for the overall drafts, they didn't really get too much for the drafts. They like to do trades and stuff, and that's how they built up their squad fairly good these past couple of seasons. And that's how they're rolling. They're not really a drafting type team. They get their stuff, and they get all their things done through trades. And they're a good team now because of free agent signings and because of trades, not solely because of drafting, but the drafting has definitely helped them a little bit. It has been a lot. It could have been a lot better, but it's still pretty decent. But the 2018 draft is looking mighty fine. If they can get a good pick from, hopefully, their later 1st round pick from their own pick, hopefully they can get a good pick there and actually draft a good player there and actually develop them into a decent NHL player for once. It seems like forever since the Stars actually had a 1st round pick that actually turned into something actually good. Except Brad Faxa. He's the man, of course. That's going to do, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to like. If you guys really enjoyed it, subscribe and ring that bell if you haven't. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.